Good morning. Hey, everyone. Um, I am filming a quick update. I've had some folks ask how I was doing and what was going on in my life right now. So I wanted to film an update to let everyone know what was going on before I leave my house today. If you are just joining in or just found my channel, my name is Rebecca, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 HER2 positive breast cancer at the beginning of 2024, and we are now in the last week of August of 24, and I completed the regimen of chemo and in June, and then I had a bilateral mastectomy on July 18th. If you go back and you watch some of my videos or you've been following along, you know that I had complications from the first surgery, and so I had a second surgery on August 14th. Today is August 27th. So I filmed a video last week after my second surgery, and I mentioned that they thought the surgery had gone well, and that there was a positive culture for staff from, I guess they took cultures at the very beginning of the surgery and sent them in. And then they cleaned, I had originally, after my bilateral mastectomy, they put in expanders. So they removed the first set of expanders. They cleaned out the pockets really well. And then they put in a second set of expanders. The second set of expanders were smaller than the first set, I think because they had to remove skin because of necrosis, which was the reason why I went into the second surgery. That was the complication. And because of all of that, they needed to adjust the sizes. I'm getting that really from the surgical notes. They didn't really talk about that in my appointments. And also, if you've been following along, I haven't talked to my surgeon. Since the surgery, I've spoken to and had appointments with the nurse practitioner. So anyways, I say all of this because I'm trying to give a little bit of background. When the staff cultures came back positive, I had actually seen them on my chart, so I brought it up to the nurse practitioner. I believe at the time of my last video, I had left my appointment, and my nurse practitioner had told me to make sure I kept taking my antibiotics. And she did not realize that the cultures had come back because she hadn't looked at the my chart. Once I told her, she knew that was serious, and she actually ended up having a conversation with my surgeon after my appointment, and she called me back later that afternoon and switched my antibiotics to a 10-day regimen of a very strong dose of, I think it's like climodacin, or I don't know. I'm not going to butcher the word, but a very strong dose of antibiotics, and reiterated what she told me in my appointment, that if I got a fever, or if I had redness, or my breasts on either side got hot, anything like that, anything that indicated an infection, that I needed to let her know immediately, and that what would likely happen is that they would go in and just explant the expanders and close me up and keep me flat until after my cancer treatment is done. Over the last week, I have not gotten a fever. I haven't had any redness or warm, heat on anything. What I did notice is that my left side was starting to heal pretty well, and my right side was not. Around the incisions, it was black, which is very similar to what happened uh, with the first complications. Not as large, not as prominent, but still there. You could still tell that it wasn't healing the same as the other side. Last time, both sides kind of healed the same, not well. So you couldn't really tell if it was healthy or not, or what it was supposed to look like, because they looked the same. Now that my left side looks better, I know what it should look like as it's healing, and so my right side doesn't really look like that. It doesn't look nearly as bad as it did before, but it's just not healing. Another thing that was happening was that I had some drainage at my incision site on my right side. When I left my appointment last week, she told me to expect that and to be normal, and that I might need to have like an ABD pad on my right side because of that for a week. So yesterday would have been a week. It wasn't like draining like all the time or like this steady flow, but there was a little bit of leakage, if that makes sense. That was at the incision underneath my breast, so I couldn't really see it, and I can't really feel underneath when that happens. I can see it if it's like on my stomach or on a bandage or something, but I can't really feel it. Another thing that was happening, that she told us to do last week, was to get Aquaphor and put a thin line of that along my incisions to keep it moist, and that we would be doing that for a week. So my husband has been putting that on for the last week, and we've been watching it. We've noticed that the right side wasn't looking like the left, and that was kind of an issue. It didn't look infected, but we just didn't really know what that meant. And we knew that there was a little bit of, leakage, but we didn't really know where that was coming from. And the incisions are so fragile that you don't really like poke at them or look at them like a doctor would, because you just don't know. So that's kind of how the last week has gone. I was fully anticipating going into my appointment yesterday and them telling me I had an infection on my right side and that they were just going to take everything out. That's not exactly what happened. I went in yesterday, and what did happen was she looked at it. She immediately said, okay, so there's still some necrosis. You're going to need to have surgery. And we're going to need to take it out, or we're going to need to, take out that skin, remove that skin. It's not that much, but it does require a surgery. They'll go in and they'll clean it up, and then they'll put in a new expander. So as we're talking through this and she's looking at my incision, she sees the leakage and she starts going along my incision. Well, when I say she, I mean the nurse practitioner, because that's who I see at the appointment. At that time, she goes, okay, well, here's the deal. You need to have surgery as soon as possible. The surgeon is on vacation this week, so I need to call and see if I can get one of her partners to come in and fit you in the schedule as soon as we can. And so she leaves the room for a little while, and then she comes back in and she has my surgeon on the phone, and she gets one of those long Q-tips and goes along the side underneath where the long incision is, and she sticks it in because there was a hole big enough that the white part of the Q-tip, those long Q-tips that they have at the doctor's office, the white part completely went in. And I don't know how that happened, how the incision opened. My husband never noticed it, but that's where the drainage was coming from. That's really bad, I think, because infection can get in there. It doesn't look infected to her. She leaves the room and then she comes back in and she says, okay, so you're having surgery tomorrow and your doctor is coming in from vacation to perform the surgery. We'll call you with details. So that's very interesting to me, because I don't really know how all of that happened. I think, they say that it does happen. I think because I've had the multiple complications, my plastic surgeon didn't want someone else to come in because good faith effort here, maybe because she knows what's the history and she's performed these and she feels like she can rectify it. That's what I'm hoping will happen. At the same time of all of this, the problem is I did test positive for staph the last surgery on the 14th. We don't really know if that is playing a factor in all of this or not. So I am going into surgery in a couple of hours. My parents are picking me up to take me to the hospital while my husband holds down the fort with work and the kids tonight, because this was literally all done in the last 24 hours. And what I've been told is she's going to go in and see if she can remove the skin and put an expander in. But if she can't and she has to remove it, then that's what she's going to do. And I've made it clear, I'm not going to, if she does that on one side, she needs to remove the other side. The other side, actually, there's there may be a popped stitch or something underneath as well that may need to be repaired. I have to have the surgeon look at it. The nurse practitioner couldn't really tell me, but she did tell me to make sure that I told the plastic surgeon to look at it. And so I don't know if they'll be work done on the other side as of right now. One of the concerns that I had yesterday in the appointment was that they needed to fill my left side to keep fluid from building and, that to continue that expansion process. I was a little bit concerned about them doing that in the doctor's office because I knew I was going into surgery today. And if my right side goes, then the left side's going to go. So why even do that yesterday? Could she just fill it today if I end up keeping my right side? But I was told that that was not the best course of action. So they filled my left side again, I think about 120 or 30 cc's or I'm not sure if it's mLs or cc's, but they did 300 last time and 130 this time. So my left side does look better. My last surgery and expanders, they only filled it once because the skin was so fragile. So this is the first time I've had an expander filled twice, and it does make it look a little bit normal. And I appreciate that. But I don't want it if I don't have another side. The symmetry is important to me. That may seem silly, but when I was having to make the decision about, the mastectomy, I had a bilateral mastectomy for two reasons. One, because I didn't want the chance of, there being an issue in my other side with cancer. And two, because, I had large breasts. I didn't want just one. I knew that there was no way to make them normal. So I wanted them both out. That's a personal decision. But anyways, so I don't know. Long story short, I don't know if I'll wake up later today with a new expander or no expanders at all. I'm very tired of having the surgeries. People will tell you, like, it's normal, this happens, it's just part of the process of treatment. And I understand that, and I get that I think those comments are starting to grate on my nerves a little bit, because I get that it is. But also, this has been like the hardest year of my life, of my husband's life, of my children's life, of my parents' life, of my entire family's life. And I probably say this every video, I don't really know, but we need some kind of normalcy. And while I have accepted that treatment is going to be part of our normal for the next several months, having multiple surgeries prolongs all of those treatments, and it makes it very hard for me to contribute to my kids and to my household. And, I'm over it. It is very tough. So, I can't just keep having these surgeries. It's just killing me. So, sorry about that little tangent, but that is what the game plan is. It has impacted the treatment plans that I already had scheduled. I was supposed to go to the lymphedema clinic for the first time on Friday. We've canceled that. I have an echo scheduled, a regularly scheduled echo, because of my infusions to check my heart. I have one scheduled next week that we'll have to reschedule for probably a month down the line. I did reach out to my oncologist's office and talk to my girl there, and she said that was fine, but we're probably looking at about a month. It's also going to impact my radiation schedule. I was originally scheduled to go on September 9th to get that set up and then start radiation probably mid-September. I'm not really sure what that's looking like now, but I guess I probably won't start radiation until October. I don't know. We'll have to see. So that kind of stuff is just discouraging and frustrating. And the mental impact of the constant changes is just exhausting. Necessary, I understand, but exhausting. So, that's where I am right now. I will give an update on how the surgery goes and all of that when I can. I don't know if I'll do it before my post-op appointment or not, but we'll see what I feel up to and what I can do. But that's what's going on right now, and I appreciate all the prayers. I had a dear friend of mine send me a really sweet message last night talking about Psalms and her favorite Psalms, and just giving me encouragement about how God is there when your body is weak. And I appreciated that. It came at the word came at the right moment for me, as I was struggling to go to sleep and all of that. So I appreciate those messages. When I start getting down and frustrated, kind of like my rants, that encouragement, it keeps me in the present. I don't know how else to really describe that. It helps keep my head up. Even when I'm frustrated reading it, it sinks through, I guess. So I appreciate the dear people in my life that keep me grounded and support my family and all of that. The other side note is, in the last 13 days, everybody in my family has had strep throat. All three of my children and my husband have had strep throat, and that's been fun. They've all been on antibiotics. Luckily, I have not gotten it, knock on wood. my kid's pediatrician reassured us that the antibiotics that I'm on are strong enough to kind of help keep me healthy as long as I'm keeping my distance. So I've done that. So I'm really praying that everyone stays healthy after today's surgery and we don't have any craziness with all of the crud that's going around. Trying to stay healthy when you're immunocompromised is so much fun, my friends, so much fun. So anyways, that's my update. And like I said, I appreciate the prayers, the encouragement. If you're going through this and you feel my pain, let me know. I know it's crazy. I'm praying for you. And I hate that anyone is having to go through any of this, but we'll get through it, especially with the great physician keeping his hand on us. And I know that that's what's happening, even though we're having these trials. So, all right, everyone have a great day, and I'll update you soon. Thank you.